Shalom.
Shalom.
Back here once again declare the downfall and collapse of this wicked kingdom of America, which is known as Babylon the Great in the Bible. And let you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans know that you are the true children of Israel. That you are the true sons of the Heavenly Father, in which your true name in ancient Hebrew, which his name is Yahweh, which the name Yahweh means he is, or he exists, or he to be. All right, and also likewise the name of his son as well. His name is also in ancient Hebrew, in which these people inwardly call Jesus, in which his true name in ancient Hebrew is Yahweh Shah. All right, the name Yahweh Shah means he delivers and he saves. And just as his name implies, which once again Yahweh Shah, he's going to deliver and save the nation of Israel, starting with the election, the remnant out of Israel, and deliver the elect from the hands of our enemies, in which the main enemy that is ruling in today's world today, who has a stranglehold on the planet Earth, is Esau Edom, in which Edom is the true biblical nationality of the so-called white man. You know, we're talking about the Edomites, which have ruled the planet Earth and set their rulership underneath the foundation of wickedness, man. And in time, Yahweh Shah is going to return to dismantle this wicked kingdom that was set up by Esau and set up the kingdom of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shah, and it's going to be set up in righteousness, man. And it's going to turn everything right side up once again and bring things back into order here on the planet Earth, and bringing it back to the time to when our Lord Yahweh Bashim Shah has set up his laws and statutes since the beginning of time, when the earth was created. And again, those are the names Yahweh, or Yahweh Shah, which once again are the names of the Heavenly Father and the Son, who we come instead of to teach this word, this gospel, this good news unto the other members of the hope elect that hear and understand, and that also are seeking retribution for the atrocities that has been committed unto us by our enemies, once again, Esau Edom, and also seeking the Lord as well. And those that hear and understand, and those that are sighing and crying for all the abominations that be done in the midst of them. And before we begin, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. Also as well, double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that continually rule their work to this very day, continually feeding the flock through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Shai, and also continuing the legacy of the apostles and the prophets of old, but also taught in the same doctrine as our Lord Yahweh Shai, and teaching of the coming of the kingdom of the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Shai, and also as well Shalom and much honors as well to sincere Akitasakim, the righteous brothers who are a part of the Hope Elect as well, that's also continuing that same legacy, and also continuing the ministry underneath of the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Shai, and our faith, truth, and sincerity, and also in our charity. All right, again, man, we back out to prophesy and declare the end of the end, which the Lord has prophesied since the beginning of time, and, you know, in which this kingdom that was set up right now is this is where the climax of this movie that the Lord has authored and conducted and directed is going to basically this is going to be the scene that the Lord is going to show forth His power and to show all things, because right now we're in a time of the revealing. You know, this is a time now where all things are to be revealed. You know, that's why scriptures speak about it in Romans the 15th chapter, that things are written aforetime were for our learning, man. All right. And really the reason why is because all those things were written aforetime is so that they can be revealed today. You know, so that we can dive into the scriptures, go into it, and be able to decipher and understand what these things mean. And when you read through the scriptures, it speaks about Babylon the Great continuously. You know, especially even in Revelations the 17th chapter. You know, going to the 18th chapter, it speaks about Babylon the Great, man. And not only that, it ties into Esau as well, because Esau Edom is going to be set as the man or the nation that's going to be at the scene of the crime, so to speak, or be at in this last scene, last part of this movie that the Lord has put together. And he's going to be set as the man to be taken down, you know. And the men that you see now that are teaching, that are also coming in instead as well of Yahweh Bashim Shai to teach this word, all right, that have been sent by our Lord Yahweh Bashim Shah, the men of the Lord are going to be the ones that's going to be set up in the end, or at the ending scene of this movie, to overtake our enemies. Okay? Because the Lord is going to give us power in that day, man. Okay? That's why it says in Jeremiah, I believe it's the 51st chapter, it says the Lord's going to make us his battle axe and weapons of war.
That's right.
So the Lord's going to set up his men in this time to be that battle axe and to be that weapon of war, to be that sword, to go to fight against Esau, man. Okay? Because if you try to fight against him now, man, you shouldn't even just try, man. You shouldn't even attempt to try to come against this man. Why? Because this man is his military is too powerful, man. You think that, you know, a 9mm or like an AK is gonna save you, man. This man got high power rifles, can just shoot through walls, man. You know, they got technology able to see, you know, heat seeking, or like what's it called? Basically, is it can
thermal.
Read. Thermal. Yep. They got thermal technology. They can just see you through walls and stuff, man. They can just pop you through the wall, man. Pop you through the window.
They got bullets that can bend around corners and shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And you think that you're gonna be able to go against that now? You know, going against that with, you know, the weapons that you can get your hands on, man. You're out of your mind, man. And on top of that, Esau was set up to be the Lord's sword, man. Because Esau was given that blessing. That's the reason why Esau was given that blessing. It's because he's going to be used as a sword that the Lord's going to use to basically to put even more hell on the wicked of our people, man. Because mind you, our people, 2/3, should I say, you know, they're not going to understand until Esau puts their foot on their neck, you know, because, you know, our people have been in America too long, man. You've been sitting at the bar, you've been drinking, and the bartender tell you to go home, you know, and you still there, you know, drinking your lives, your worries away, man. You know, you basically made your bed in the bar, man. You know, and that's how it is with our people in America, man. Because you spend so much time here in America, and you basically center your mind so much around America for too long, man. Your mind starts to warp, and it starts to change to that. You know, now you got your mind set on, you know, American ordeals, or, you know, anything of that nature, man. And that's why the majority of our people can't break out of that spell, because they've been exposed for too long, you know. And you know, when you drink wine so much, you know, going to the wine of Babylon, right? When you drink wine so much, you start to build a tolerance to that wine. You know, you drink it every single day, you know, every hour, on the hour, you start to build a tolerance over it, man. And that's what's happened, and that's what happened to the majority of our people. They drunk that wine for so long, and now it's just normal. It's just a routine, you know.
They need a drink to knock the shakes up.
Yeah, it's just a routine, you know.
Yeah.
It's a routine. So when you try to break someone out of that routine, they don't know how to function.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the reason why, you know, they have a sort of reaction when they're introduced to this word. When they come around the camps, they react a certain way, because it breaks them out of that routine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they lose it. You know, but not knowing that, you have to do that though in order to recover. You know, because if you have an addiction, you know, you have to basically break yourself out of that addiction, man. You have to get yourself out of that routine. You know, and our people are addicted to America, man. Okay, so the only way that is going to be able to have our people get away from that addiction, you know, from that tolerance and that reliance on the wine that's given to them by Babylon, they have to be forced out of it. And that's why we were saying earlier about Esau. The Lord's going to use Esau to basically break them out of that spell that they're in, and have them wake up to reality, man, because they're not operating in reality, man. None of these people that you see today are operating in reality, you know, because the reality is indicative to the truth, you know. And if you disregard and you deny the truth, then you're not dwelling in reality, man. You know, you're not here, you're not present.
Right.
You know, because you disregard something that's fact, you know, something that's true, something that you can't argue against, you know, like 2 + 2 is 4, man, you know. But you know, you got people that believe that 2 + 2 is 5, man, and try to convince you that it's 5, you know. And that's how twisted Babylon is, man. That's how twisted the minds of these people are, man. That's why, again, the Lord has just got to bring down that force to break people out of that spell, man. You know, and it started with the Lord sending forth His men to shake things up, so to speak. And the Lord's always done that with in past times with the prophets. So this ain't no new thing, man. The Lord always sent forth prophets in the midst of the people, and to send a message, and the Lord's doing it once again, man. You know, which caused a ripple effect. So now it caused more things to happen. You know, and now it caused more events to take place. Because again, you know, when you read the scripture, man, hey, the Lord, it says it right there, the Lord is not a man that should lie. All right? So the Lord put forth the word, the word's been published, and now the Lord's gonna follow through on what He declared, man. Okay? And you see it happening day by day, man. The more and more that time passes, the more and more days go by, the more and more you start to see more things revealed concerning prophecies, especially with the MOTB, man. And martial law. With martial law is gonna speed that up, man. Because martial law really is gonna force you to take that. You know, they got to use that force in order for you to comply. You know, and that's where we at right now. You know, Esau is getting ready to bring down the sword amongst these civilians, man, amongst these people. Because, you know, right now, you know, you see one force against another. Hey, and that tells you that in what, 2nd Ezra, 15th chapter, it says one people shall stand up to fight against another with swords in their hands. You know, and, another one where it says they should not regard their kings nor princes. You know, so now we're entering into that time, man, to where they're not regarding the kings or the ones that are in power, man. And now Esau has no choice but to just go ahead and just bring down a decree to use lethal force if you do not comply, if you do not, if you do not listen to the orders that are being brought down from the government officials, man. You know, that's leading right into martial law, and then on top of that, it's not just gonna be a one and done deal. You know, it's just gonna bring the force in for a while, and then just pull them back. No, man, it's gonna be a continual thing when that's enacted, man. I mean, look at DC, man. They still out there, man. The troops, you know, National Guard, they're still out there, man. LA, they still out there, man, and active. Okay, so like I said, it's not gonna stop there. And we went into that some weeks ago. You know, it's not just gonna be like DC or Philly, you know, or LA or Atlanta.
To a hood near you,
you know,
man.
like Dallas or you know, any place like that. You know, and it's gonna be in every single location that you know, man. Every single state that's here, every single state is gonna comply with armed forces, man, and have the armed forces govern the people that are in the cities, man. And that's the perfect recipe to bring in this new identification, because that's another layer that's added to it, right? In which now they have to conjure up a new form of identification, because you have immigration, you know. All these people here, man, they're hard pressed to basically get immigration under control, man. Which that adds another layer to them trying to roll out the seal, you know. Oh, and another layer to add to it as well is the money. You know, the FRNs, man, because the economy hasn't recovered. It's not going to recover. You know, so everything is just a whole recipe. All ingredients being put in to make this huge dish to serve to you, which is the New World Order. You know, and you gotta like.
I got Mark chapter 3 and verse 23 in the Amplified Bible version. So he called them to himself and spoke to them in parables. How can Satan drive out Satan?
Yeah, it's how can Satan drive out Satan, man? You know, because that was when they were questioning, you know, Yahweh Shai. You know, they're basically saying, you know, doubting, and it was telling them like, look, how can Satan drive out Satan, man? You know, in which when you actually we at in Mark
Mark 3:23.
23.
Right, and I'm in the Amplified some Bible version because that word faction I want to get into.
Okay, yeah, you got it. Okay, yeah, you can see.
How can Satan drive out Satan?
Mm-hmm.
If a kingdom is divided, split into factions, and rebelling against itself, that the kingdom cannot stand.
Yeah, so a kingdom divided itself cannot stand, man. You know, that's why everything you see right now here in this current government, you know, even the government itself, you know, Esau's whole rulership, this whole infrastructure that he put together is divided, man. You know, which it was already doomed to fail because you got two manner of ideas, or two ways of dealing with things. You know, two different types of mentalities that are just clashing against each other, man. A house like that's not gonna stand, man. You know, you can't build anything with two people, you know, basically butting heads, man.
Right.
You know, so that's why Esau's rulership wasn't even gonna continue because of that, man. It was, like I said, it was already doomed to fail, man. Your kingdom was already prepared to fall by the time it was set up, man. You know, because his foundation was built on top of the house being separated, or that division. You know, so you got one side against another, man. That's why you see people, even amongst the people, you know, your regular civilians, you know, two manner of people that are going against each other, man. The right and the left, you know, Republican, left ring, right ring, you know, Republicans, Democrats,
liberals, conservatives,
conservatives,
red,
you know, that's what you got. That's what you got, man. So it's full on division, man. So it was never gonna continue in this way, man. All right, that's the reason why the brother brought that scripture, is that you know, if Satan has to be divided against itself, it can't stand, man. You know, so that's why everything you see around you right now is crumbling, because there's nothing can be built. You know, really, what comes out of that is destruction. You know, because you have that take place, then that whole building's gonna be destroyed, man. And that's what's happening to Babylon right now. This whole city that you see is being destroyed from the inside out because of that, man. You know, and liable to be overtaken by another force, man. And that's why when Yahweh Shai returns, you know, Esau he's nothing he can do. You know, because his power has been basically split in half, man. And you going against a power that over exceeds that, man. You out of your mind, man. You know, because Yahweh Shai is going to return with the heavenly host, man. Yahweh Shai is going to return with the host of heaven, and he's going to put the final nail in the coffin to Esau's rulership, man. All right,
kind of add too, it's like having a bird, right? You know, like an eagle, and then you got the left wing fighting with the right wing. You ever shot a bird? You know what I'm saying? If you went, you know, it's like bird hunting. You shot a bird in the sky, their wings is going everywhere and everything's like that because the wings is fighting against each other to stay in the air in order for that bird to sustain flight, man. Okay, and that's this place, man. Okay, you got all these worldly views. You got the political people, you know, shit, man. Like, you got people that's for these immigrants. You got people that hate these immigrants. You got people that's for freedom of speech. You got people that's against freedom of speech. You got all of these different type of political so-called freedom of speeches would actually is a privilege, but it's their so-called freedoms and it's not being so-called listened to. So what they gonna do? They gonna tear up shit. That's what people do. If I can't be heard, I'm gonna tear up something. That's what people have in their mindset. Look at the time of George Floyd and Derek Chauvin, where, you know, he had his knee on his neck and said, "I can't breathe," and all that. And then it turned out that George Floyd had an extensive criminal history and he was a complete nigga, dope fiend. All right, and everybody tearing up shit because of a freedom of speech, because it's their so-called freedom, man. All right. And it's gonna be like that towards the ministry. You got people that's for the ministry, and you got people that's against the ministry. You got people that's for the prophets, and you got people that want to see us hang from a motherfucking tree. You know what I'm saying? You got, though, I'm telling you, man, and all of those worldly views, you know, it's gonna get, you know, it's gonna be real contentious out here, man. All right, physical. To the point where it's gonna lead to a person on your front doorstep. He may have a gun, he may have knives, whatever, but he gonna try to seek your life at the end of the day, man. This is the time of Jacob's trouble. Is what Elder is getting into, man. Okay, this system is done. All right, and I had that word faction because in the scriptures it say right here, if a kingdom is divided, split into factions and rebellion. All of that is bleeding into 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. All of that. All right. Which is what? Sedition of men, the uproarings of the people, the anger, the frustration, the oppression people have on the inside. Go on YouTube, everybody bugging out, especially Eve and these women. Woo. I'm talking about, you can't even ask a chick nowadays what you eating for breakfast. It's so hard out here. You can't even ask a chick that, like, damn, babe, what you eating for breakfast today? Because it's hard out here. Ain't nobody got breakfast money. Jake barely got a week of groceries in their motherfucking house. And they still prideful. So the Lord really gonna bring that famine to y'all. You know? Just like how he actually rightfully should. But it say if a kingdom is divided, and ain't America divided? America been divided since it started. Okay? This factions of people against this factions of people. This against that. It's always a versus, a 1v1. It's always an opponent with this place, man. And America had, you know, it's like America needs a hero and a villain. All right? Always. And they're even making invisible villain. And then you got people fighting over the invisible villains.
Yeah, just to go a step further. I mean, it goes even further than when America was set up. Because in the process of America being set up, like before, 1776, you had what the Brits.
Yep.
Versus the English.
Right.
They were going at each other, man. Basically that, and like we went into it before, is that America basically was, the foundation of America was set up on the foundation of America was underneath rebellion against the crown. So, but what led up to that? One faction against another. Those that rebelled against the crown and those that were for the crown. And it all comes together, man. Because Esau, ever since the Renaissance started, which you go into the word Renaissance, it means rebirth. So ever since the Renaissance started, it's always been two factions. Always been a faction against another faction. Concerning the nation of Edom. You know, it's always been one faction against another. You know, that house has always been separated. And then you go back to Rome. You know, and you know, his whole history is littered with division. You know, to where how he set up his rulership is set up underneath division. I should say that. So his whole history is his having his rulership set up underneath division and also rebellion. So division and rebellion. Those are one of the things, two of the things that basically had this man set up to fail already, man. So that's why we look at this kingdom and say, man, this place don't have too much longer, man. It doesn't, man, because it's only a matter of time.
That's it.
You know, if you have those things like we just called out, like division and rebellion, and then on top of other things, then guess what, man? Your kingdom is not gonna last, man. And to add the cherry on top, we're speaking about Esau, the murderer. Now, the Lord has already since the beginning of time, has already reserved judgment for Esau, man, for committing murder. You know, and Yahushua is going to be the one to single-handedly give him his judgment, man. You know, you're gonna have the judge himself do the job, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, instead of having someone else do it. That's why he put out the decree saying to put out the decree to not to lay your hands on Cain.
That's right.
You know, and the reason why is because he wants that pleasure of putting his hands on Esau, man, putting his hands on the wicked. You know, putting his hands on the murder. You know, he wants to do that himself. Yahushua, man. That's why he told everybody else, oh no, don't touch him. Let me put his hands on him. You know?
That's why the scriptures say, for it is written, vengeance is mine.
That's it.
You know?
That's it.
You know?
Yeah. Vengeance belongs to the Lord, man. You know? So that's why, look, we already know that Esau has a royal ass whooping coming.
Yep.
Cordially given by Yahushua.
Cordially given.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got that word faction, right? It's a 15th century word, all right, which means political party, class of persons, you know? And that's what faction is, man. The political parties, Democrat, Republican, and you have classes of persons, liberal, conservative, red, blue, Democrat, Republican, you know? It's all about the classes of persons, and if those are not standing in agreement, if they're not synced together, the whole kingdom gonna fall, because everybody's bumping heads and everybody is clashing to the point where nothing can get done. And as you can see, it's gonna eventually lead to this place getting bombed with thermonuclear fire, man. This place is gonna be desolate, all right? Babylon the Great is gonna be used, all right, as a memorial ground, all right, from the Medes, man, all right? And the Medes is these so-called Russians, man, okay? Because you got to know the history to understand the mystery, and it's important to get into these maps, man, all right? Because once you understand Gog and Magog and Dedan and, you know, Tarshish and all of that, then you will understand present day, all right? This ain't no book that's just, you know, like a fictional story book that people think. No, these is historical records, man. It's dates and time periods in the scriptures. That's why the scriptures say this is written aforetime for our learning, for in the last days, man. We can go back and see how our forefathers did things, how they handled certain, you know what I'm saying, things. Go back to the old records and know how to maneuver in the last days, man. Okay? But you got it up.
That's right, man. Yeah, you gotta dive into the ways of our forefathers, man. Now, basically, that's how you're really gonna get the understanding on what the Lord's intentions are, especially in this time today, man. You know, everything that the Lord and when you read in the scriptures, you know, they weren't just events that took place and that was it. You know, they weren't just events that took place, you know, during that time just to happen. Those things happen to set examples, to show examples on what to do and what not to do. What you got up?
Kind. Also, the word faction means, in ancient Rome, usurping faction, party, seeking by irregular means to bring about a change in government. Man, and that change is what? It's going to be a what? Digital infrastructure. It's going to be a what? One world government. A what? New world order. That is literally where that irregular is going to come into. Because the irregular part is using any crisis means necessary to make this go, whether it's conventional or unconventional. However it happens, they are trying to bring forth that perfect crisis. And what's the perfect way? Immigration. That's the biggest issue right now in America, is the immigration issue. So that's the perfect way to usher in the MOTB. Because mind you, you have people that came over here and they now settled, they made families, literally got kids out here, the whole 9, all right, the whole 12, all right, to the point where now they have immunity to a certain degree if it isn't violent or things of that nature, okay? So what? People gonna fight against these people, all right? They taking all the jobs, so-called. When you hear Jake around here, these men, he old Spanish, taking all the jobs. Man, look, this place is one lawsuit away from all turning upside down, man. And Esau gonna capitalize on that, and they're gonna issue in that MOTB to where you can be tracked. Just like how it is in Kenya, where they did that last year, man. Where all the babies after December 24th of last year, they don't need a birth certificate no more. Because it's easier for you to be tracked. Esau go to Africa and they go to these so-called third world countries. Really, this place is a third world country. Look at the currency and everything else. But, Esau will go to these so-called third world countries and test out what they want to do over here first. And they'll do a whole social experiment and let years go by and just test and see how the people react and how they, act towards certain things, man. And certain, laws and, change, basically. Because it did say a change in government, you're gonna have a new founding father, all right? When all hell break loose and they so-called diet down with, with martial law. Look at the first purge when they went to the hood and everything, and it was them white little MOTB tents, and you got these Edomites with security in there, and they asking you a bunch of fucking questions, and everybody had to get them contacts and shit, but that's gonna be you getting that gauze, that Band-Aid, and that Palisade up your motherfucking hand, man. It's all gonna boil down to that at the end of the day, and it all starts with the political parties, all right? Okay, because technically it's the elites. They already have what they want done. And they use these figureheads, all right, to push out and tell you what they want. The World Economic Forum, just like Klaus Schwab, even though Klaus Schwab is one of them, he like human resources at a damn restaurant or something. He not even in charge like that. He like they cousin or something. Like, he ain't the dude to see. The dude to see is the ones you don't see. The ones that don't mind letting you think you the boss. Those the ones that's really controlling shit. Those are the ones that's behind the scenes. The Rothschilds, DuPonts, the Astors, all of them. It's like 13 families, man. Second half, it says, Mark 3:24, it say, if a kingdom is divided, split into factions and rebelling. Okay? It's going to start from the White House, and it's going to trickle down to your motherfucking neighborhood. Okay? Because you got people that's tearing up Kamala Harris signs. Yeah, I don't like that bitch. So they'll pick up the sign, they'll throw it down the street. That's going to turn into a person knowing that you a Democrat and you a Republican, or a Republican knowing you a Democrat, whatever faction you a part of, they're going to be bumping heads, man, to the point where it's going to get deadly out here. Because, mind you, man, these Americans, they deadly. There's more guns than people in America. So, you already know, that's an ambulance. You already know, man. Anyway, it say, and if a house is divided against itself, that house cannot stand. Right, man. You know, just like what Elder Masha was going into, man. Like, you can't have a house that everybody is in contentious with each other. Bills ain't gonna get paid. Shit gonna get broke. The whole house gonna fall apart. That's like that. We're here with their laws, with their decrees on how they do business, how they conduct business, how they treat other nations of people. All of that make the whole world hate America, because if you really do the legwork and the research, you're like, damn, who have America done right? They don't even do their allies right. They force their allies to do shit that their allies don't want to do. So even their allies is going to plot and creep in through the back door on this place 3 a.m. That's what these other nations going to do. And you ain't going to get no motherfucking call or no siren. It's bombs going to be dropping. By the time you hear that little siren, man, it's too late. It's too late. You only got 20 minutes to call your mama and say, I'm sorry for taking that 20 out the drawer that one time when I was 8. Hey, ma, I'm sorry. You gonna be on that. Grandma, I'm sorry. I apologize for doing that in the kitchen. I apologize, Grandma. You gonna be on that. It ain't gonna be, no, because it's gonna be too late. The 7th Trump, come on now. The 7th Trump, the last one. And if you on the ground by the time that 7th Trump hit, anyway, verse 26, and if Satan has risen up against himself and is divided, and you see that right now, you got the left wing rising up against the right wing rising up against the left wing, you got the black so-called rising up against the whites. You got the whites rising against the Mexicans rising up against the Dominicans rising up against the Christians rising up against the Muslims rising. Can we all just get along? The Lord don't want that. See, the Lord is all about separation. He is all about division. Okay? That's what Yahushua is about. Because the Lord drawing that line. Who for me and who for them. That's why he doing all that division. Because you're going to pick your right way. You know what I'm saying? You're going to always pick your right way, man. You know, that's like you laying out food and you got a trap here and there. Each you know, food that each animal, you know, loves, they're going to go to that one that they're accustomed to. And this is God's we're talking about. So if you was an Israelite, you're going to fall in the Israelite category. If you a devil, you're going to fall over there. It's all to separate your motherfucking ass. That's all it's about. Who are you really for? Are you for this system, or are you for Yahweh Shah?
Yeah,
you know, but you got it.
Yeah, that's how war works.
Yep.
You know, because the Lord is setting up this major war. You know, against, you know, and that's, again, like I said, you know, that's what war entails. You know, you have a faction against another faction. You know, that's what the world wars were comprised of. You have one faction of nations that were comprised together, that were aligned with each other, and then you had another faction of nations, and they butt heads, man. They go against each other. So now, as you see today, the Lord is now, like you said, drawing that line. It's whether you are allied to Yahweh or you're an enemy. You know, and you're on either side, man. You're not gonna be in between, man. You know, if you can't, like the scriptures say, you can't serve 2 masters.
Not at all.
You know? So you gotta choose one, man. You know, you gotta make that decision. You can't just be on the fence and think that you're gonna be straight, man. You know, that quote unquote gray area. You know? No, man, it's either you're white or you're black. You can't get around that, man. So either you're an ally or you're an enemy, man. And that's what the Lord is doing right now. He's calling his allies together, all right, the Lord, and he's separating them away from his enemies, those that seek his hurt, man. You know, those that continue to rebel against him and continue to hold him in contempt. You know, because the Lord's not dealing with, you know, a group of people. He's not going to deal with, you know, people that will not seek him to rule. You know, the Lord is seeking those that want him to rule over. You know, wants him to be the king. You know, and we know that he's already inherited the earth. So knowing that, you know, you already know whose side to be on, man. You know, because we know that there's an inheritance that's still there and present, and the Most High is preparing to move on that inheritance. He's prepared to enact and enable the inheritance and that promise that was promised unto our forefathers, man. So now it's only a matter of time before the Lord completes that action, or he basically completes this decree in which the Lord's going to inherit the earth, and he's also going to inherit the heathen that are here, and also bring about the coming of this next kingdom is going to be an everlasting kingdom. Okay? So now, with all that being said, now we know that this next war is coming. It's going to be the war to end all wars. All right? This next war that's coming is basically going to be the end all be all, man. This is going to be the war that's going to basically bring all things to a close.
That's going to bring our salvation, man.
Mm-hmm.
Lord's will, we're part of that number, man. You know, man, hey, look, man, we crying, man, we fighting. You know, we pray and hope we are part of that number, man. Because the scriptures say we searching for the new heavens and the new earth, man. Roughly paraphrasing, man. We want the new heavens and the new earth. And that new heavens and the new earth gonna be us first and foremost, man. But the earth is gonna be in a better position than what it's in. Okay? Everything is weak. Everything is lost of stature. Even we got weaker. We got shorter. We got smaller. You know, we get sick like motherfuckers. You know, I mean, man. You know, so Lord's will, man, we a part of that number, man, to be a part of that new covenant, you know, to be the first dominion, you know, to have our right mind that we got now, but better, you know, we ain't died and came back and everything done. Like, no, we want to see ground zero, man, when everything is desolate, and it's the ground zero phase when you build up a building. The architect is there, you know, the architect is Yahushua. He finna see a desolate everything, and he feel, I want this built like this, I want this built like that, and the same thing how Yahweh did him, he gonna do us. We gonna make sure that's built for Yahushua, and Yahushua gonna sit back and, you know, because he don't need to do that. He did enough. That's our job. We want that job, to be property managers. You know what I'm saying? Basically, you a property manager. You don't own it. It's Yahushua's really. He's sharing it with you, but really is his. But you managing it. You making sure everything is copacetic. You making sure the flowers is planted. You making sure these motherfuckers in line. You making sure stuff copacetic. You know? Shit, man, the governor don't own the land, he run it. And the Lord giving us a chance to run his world, run his universe. And he's sharing it with you. He let you be, he's sharing it with you. He ain't just gonna let you run it. You gonna share it. Like, here you go, brother. Here's a piece. All right? The only thing Esau gave you was some black Air Force Ones. What else you got? What Yahushua give you way better than what these motherfuckers got going on out here, man. Look at what Babylon offered you. Babylon offered you a 30-year career and a lanyard and a fake-ass trophy and a pork fucking pizza party for the labor you put in for this nigga. You put in the labor for Yahushua, you got a crown.
Yeah, and it's wild that,
you know,
it's wild that people actually fight for this.
Man,
they fight for Babylon.
it's insane.
They fight to stay in Babylon, man.
It's like they slow.
They fight to continue this Western civilization, man. Basically, they fight to have Babylon continue, man. They really want this place to continue. They just like it said in the scriptures about taking balm for a pain. They just trying to put so much balm on the pain, trying to fix it up, you know, as much as they can, but they can't because that wound has been dealt by Yahushua, and that's an incurable wound that nobody can cure, you know, and it's just due for that wound to be inflicted, you know, and there's going to be many more wounds to come that's going to be dealt by Yahushua, man. That no matter how much balm you try to take for that wound, you're not going to be able to heal it, man. And even attempting to heal that wound is an act of
You want me to
rebellion
get that
against
right
Yahweh Shah. Yeah, get it real quick. Yeah, it's that even attempting to take bomb and try to heal Babylon in some kind of way, man, that you even find yourself to fight against Yahweh Shah, man. You know, because you basically want this place to continue, and you don't want Yahweh Shah to rule, man. You know, that's the statement that's being made by that one action, man.
Dang.
So that's why, again, that's going back to what you were saying earlier about drawing that line. That's the reason why the Lord now is just separating and making a division between one people and another. You know, those that are His and those that are just outcasts. You know, and just allowing that to take place so that when the Lord returns, He can just bring in those that are with Him. All right, and give us the privilege to govern the planet Earth and to be joint heirs with Yahweh Shai, man. You know, what you got up?
Jeremiah 51 and verse 8 in the KJV, it say, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Hear that? Suddenly. All right. Boom, 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 boom. They didn't get no heads up. You know? See, look, man, that's the problem with these fucking Babylonians around here. They want to continue to do wickedness, do all the shit they want to do when they want to do it, and still get a heads up and some drama come their way. It ain't gonna come. You ain't getting no heads up. By the time you get the heads up, it's too late. Okay? So yeah, you might get a heads up, but you got 20 minutes because this damn ICBM can cover Chicago all the way down from Arkansas, all the way. That's just one, man. It's 40,000 per state coming to this motherfucker. Don't the scriptures say 200,000? All right, that's going into 200 million. Is what? Ain't it 50 states? That's 40,000 missiles per state. Enough for every one of you wicked motherfuckers out here. That's enough. And that's the whole kitchen sink. Because you still got the, you know what I'm saying, like the whole host of heaven. You still got the control fire from the chariots. You still got all of the Leviathans and Behemoths, because Leviathan gonna be here before Yahweh Shai. Believe that. The chariots gotta wage war on this place. It's gonna get real ugly before Yahweh Shai come back. Know that. It's gonna get real ugly. You gonna see a lot more. It ain't all just gonna hit me. Yahweh Shai come to fire. No, all of that's gonna be boom, boom. It's gonna, and then when Yahweh Shai come, end all be all. Everything gonna change. That's gonna be the change of government. That's gonna be that new faction. Israel being, Yashar Allah being in power forever in that perpetual standing position. Not like Lazarus at the gate covered in sores, all messed up. And you look, man, come on, man, look at Jake out here. Eyeballs all yellow and brown because they drink all fucking day and they depressed and they fucked up in the mind. And Jake just gone. Jake ain't got to worry about that no more, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a change in the place.
Yeah, a change in the place.
You know, to where we went to it last weekend, it's going to be a change in the place where you're going to have the servant being a servant again and the princess being turned back to their rightful state, man. You know, like it goes to it in the book of Ecclesiastes. You know, about the princes walking as servants on the earth. You know, the Lord's not. That's not gonna be a thing that's gonna just be here forever, man. You know, the Lord's gonna put things in His rightful order, in His rightful place. Because the Lord, when He created the people, just to add another layer to it, when He created the people with a certain standing in the earth. That's why you got the sons that were divided against each other. The sons of the Most High, the sons of men, and the sons of the wicked. You know, and each nation has been designated or divided into those three. You know, so that's why when you go into the scriptures, it always speaks about Israel, the nation of Israel. The reason why it always speaks about the nation of Israel, because those are the ones this is the nation that stands above all nations. That's the reason why the blessing was given to Jacob, to be the ruler and have dominion over all, man. You know, and there's a reason why Esau was given his blessing, which was what? To be a servant to his younger brother Jacob, man. You know? Basically, the prophecy was that the elder was going to serve the younger. You know? And guess what? That's gonna take place. All right? That is going to take place here on the planet Earth, man. So, again, like we said, you know, there's only so much time that Esau has and see the power that he has right now. Which, by the way, was given to you by the Most High. You know, the Lord is the one that set this man up, man. You know, just to show that he ruled in the kingdom of men, like it says in Daniel the 4th chapter. You know, and he set up over any nation that he wants to, man. And in the process of doing that, he set up the basis of all men to be in rulership. This will show the kind of power that he has, man. He took somebody that's at the very bottom of all nations, of all people, and set him in power, man. All right, you don't think the Lord is able to take a nation that was meant to be in power and bring them back to where it's supposed to be, man? Come on now. Again, that's an example that the Lord's shown that look, he can just take any nation and just give them power and just let them rule.
Yeah.
You know.
And when he get ready, he'll snatch it.
Yeah, exactly. He'll take it away.
And if I can add, the Lord is a just power, you know. So that's what the plan is at the end of the day, man, to put the just in power. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? If I may add to your point, Elder Mashah always going to this, that he let all of these other nations to rule just to justify Yashar Allah being that, you know what I'm saying, that you know what I'm saying, you know, the perpetual standing ruler for all eternity, man. Because everybody had a chance. All of the 17 nations, if I flip this sign over, they all had a chance to rule, but Yashar Allah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like we had little, you know, spurts and spats where we ruled. It was always short. It was never a long, extensive time. Things of that nature. Even the Byzantine Empire ended. That was a period of 1,000 years, and that ended, man. What was it like? Was it like 70 AD, something like that, to like 14? No, it was like 97 AD to like 1478 or something. Like a period of 1,000 years and stuff, and that gradually faded out, and then the new birth happened. You know, the rebirth happened, which is the Renaissance era, man. And then that was when Esau came out they slew of ignorance, and they start seeing themselves as being the superior race. And they said that basically they the original people because the purest white skin come from the Caucasus Mountains of southern Georgia, Russia. That's why they say that they are the purest people, because the purest white people come from that area. You know what I'm saying? That's why they built up that whole shit. You know what I'm saying? You know? You got it.
This is 2 Corinthians 4 and 17. For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory.
Yeah, that's right, man. It is light affliction. It's only for a moment, but what comes afterwards is exceeding glory, man. You know? All you gotta do is just suffer for just a little, just like 1 hour. That's it.
That's it.
All you gotta do is suffer for 1 hour. That's it. And then that's it. You know? It's like going through a punishment, you know? Like like time out, you know? Get put to the corner, hey, put to the corner for an hour.
And that kid going through it too.
Yeah. Just standing there, just
that little kid going through it.
Standing there, just looking down. Like,
self-evaluating.
Man, right? You just self-evaluating.
For real though. That's why we here.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
But examine yourself, goddamn it. Like, right.
That's why I sent to the corner. Yeah, examine yourself. You know. You know, get there, and that kid be thinking long and hard too.
Man, I'm
1 hour.
Talking about head on like these and shit.
Oh man.
Man,
You know?
forehead kissing that corner, goddamn.
Yeah.
It is a light affliction, but that child cannot take it.
Exactly.
Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah, to an adult.
That was a good analogy though, man. That was funny though.
You know, to an adult, that's like you just there for now.
Right.
Complaining for
Right.
to a kid, that's like, oh damn.
Can't
Man,
take
it's
that.
forever in the day for
You know?
a kid. You know what I'm saying?
Shit, man. I'm doing a life in the corner.
Man, I'm talking. It was 5 hours for an hour. You know what I'm saying?
No, damn, it felt like 6 hours.
All right, it was. Only an hour went by.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's the same thing with like the Most High. Most High is like, man, it's only for an hour. What you complaining for? You know?
Right.
It's just a light affliction, you know. Just
I got you through this and that.
Just a little tap on the finger, you know.
Right.
That's all it is. But to Drake, they be like, oh, shit. You know, they feel like they getting their ass handed to them.
Man.
You know? Not knowing it can be a lot worse.
Yeah, sure can be.
It can be a lot worse than that.
A whole lot worse.
That's why it says, fear the Lord was able to kill both body and spirit in hell, man. The Lord can put you through an immense amount of hell that would literally break your mind and have you bug out, man. You know, basically, you know, your mind was shattered underneath the sheer force of all that, man. You know? And that's why the Lord has an immense amount of mercy that's shown to Israel because of that, man. Because the Lord can just open up on Israel, man. You know, for everything that our nation has done, man. You know? The Lord can just open up on Israel and just, hey, you talking to the same power that was ready to destroy Israel. You know? He was ready to destroy Israel and make Moses a nation.
Yeah. Yeah, you know? Man. Yeah, man. Like he wanted to start over.
Yeah.
You know?
He was going to destroy Israel and make Moses a nation.
Yeah.
But Moses told him, no. You know, he told him to remember the promise.
Yeah, that covenant.
Yeah, that covenant, that agreement that you made with Israel. And the Lord, not a man that should lie. Said, yeah, I made that agreement. Okay. You got it. You know? You know, that show you how powerful Moses was, man. You know, having that talk with Yahushua like that. Yeah. You know? Spirit. Yeah, having that conversation with Yahushua like that, man. Like,
Yahushua considered.
It stayed the wrath.
Yeah.
But guess what? Even after the fact.
Yeah.
Even after Moses.
Yeah.
The Lord like, no.
See, Jake is thirsty for a king, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Jake, throughout our whole existence, you know what I'm saying? Israel been thirsty for a king. As soon as we get a king, it ain't like you gonna change. You gonna go right back being the same nigga you was before.
Yeah, that's why.
And then that's when the Lord throw us in another captivity and take away our king.
That's why I was saying earlier that even after the fact, you know, after Moses, the Lord still has that mindset to just destroy that generation.
Yep.
That continue to fight back against the power, man. You know, because time and time again, even after the Lord displayed miracles and wondrous works in the sight of Israel, they still not gonna be able to you know, basically get their minds right, man. Even right now, man. Even if right now the men of the Lord were to receive power, like as we speaking now, and the Lord allows us to make miracles, you know, heal, you know, stuff like that, they still wouldn't believe, man.
Right.
Because you know what they're gonna say? Oh damn, what's this witchcraft?
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
You know what I'm talking about.
Some warlocks.
Exactly. Yeah, y'all some warlocks. Y'all some witches. What is this? You know?
Kill them.
What is this power? These are aliens.
Sorcerer.
Right.
That's what they're gonna say.
Yeah.
These are aliens from outer space.
And they ain't got the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah, man. You know, man, just like in Jacob's trouble, man. Like the spirit gonna have us laugh at destruction. It's gonna have us laugh at famine. It's gonna have us be like, ha ha, ha ha. You know, we gonna literally be like that, scoff at that motherfucker. Hey, shit, man, you see his last look? He was like, we gonna be all like that in Jacob's trouble. People be thinking we wicked, but no. We got the spirit of Yahweh Shah. The Lord gonna laugh through us. You know what I'm saying? At the destruction, at famine, and things of that nature. When we mock a person, man, the Lord gonna be talking through us because we warned you.
Oh, you know what that reminds me of? Paul.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the account with Paul after he exit off the ship. I'm trying to remember exactly where.
From Damascus and all that.
I believe so.
Right.
From Damascus when he got off the ship.
Right.
And then he reached his hand to grab something, and the serpent came out and bit him.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Let me get that.
Yeah, get there real quick. The serpent came out and bit him. You know, and people looked at it, and they were in awe. You know, because Paul, he was bit. It was like he just flung it off like it was nothing. You know? Because a regular person would be agonizing in pain, like, you know?
He was built different, man.
You know? But Paul, when he got bit, he's like, man, you know?
This ain't nothing.
That shit off, you know? And they thought that he was wicked after that happened, man. You know? Which, the reason why we brought the example is because, you know, the Lord opened up power to his men, you know, people, they're not going to be able to understand. You know? That's
It ain't for them to understand.
Yeah, exactly. They're not going to be able for them to understand. That's why, even with Yahweh Shah, right? Yahweh Shah didn't just go everywhere and just, you know, and just did whatever, you know? Most of the time, he didn't even want to engage in it. Only if he had to. You know? Case in point with the wedding. You know, he said, look, it's not my time yet. You know,
Right.
But he did it because, you know, okay, I'm just do this miracle. You know, other times where he was teaching, you know, and then people wanted him to heal this person, that person, that person. He did it just to show the glory of the Most High. But there were times where he would ask them. He would ask that person, said, do you believe that I can hear you? Because that's the one thing that Yahweh Shah would say. He said, do you believe I can hear you? All right, and if you believe, then it'll happen.
That's
You
right.
know?
That's right.
So Yahweh Shah is not gonna heal an unbeliever, man.
Hell no.
You know? That's why that the time when Yahweh Shah visited a house, saying that one of the daughter was dead, you know, and he brought her back to life, you know. But at first they were scoffing. They were thinking that, man, what are you talking about? You can't bring her back to life, man. You know, who's this guy, man? This guy lost his mind. They were laughing, you know, just giggling. You know, like they really believe that Yahweh Shah couldn't bring the dead back to life, man. You know. But he brought that maiden back to life, and then they believe, you know, because a lot of times you go into this a lot too, is that there are times when the Lord will bring a situation or scenario to force you to believe.
That way.
You know,
Yep.
if you were part of that lot of being one of the elect. That remnant, the Lord first force you to believe. He'll put a situation in front of you and
He's
make
gonna
you
force you to be in the truth.
Yeah, he's gonna force you to be in this circle, man.
He's gonna force you to do it. Because you know, it was your lot. It was what you was so, you know, that's your purpose. You know, your purpose ain't being a fucking rapper. Your purpose ain't being Cam Newton fucking 2.0, man. All right, wearing weird hats and thrift store shit, looking crazy. You know what I'm saying? Look how Cam Newton be dressing. That ain't your damn purpose. Your purpose is to be in this lot. Is to be a teacher. Is to be teaching for Yahweh Shah, making yourself a living sacrifice for this word and for your Lord, man.
Oh yeah, that also reminds me too. Jonah.
Yeah, Jonah.
Jonah's a perfect example. Because Jonah, he ran away from doing the work. He ran away from doing the work, man. Guess what? The Lord brought his ass right back.
Yeah, via whale.
Via whale.
Via whale. So you can have that Jonah spirit all you want. The Lord gonna bring you back if he wants you to teach. You gon' teach.
You ain't got no choice.
The Lord can put a heavy spirit on a brother to compel you to teach. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, hell no, you got all this knowledge, you ain't teaching. Oh, man, the Lord will put a heavy spirit on a brother to force you to do a lesson. Then all of a sudden, you hit record on that little, you know, it's a little X recorder. You like, dang, like, you know, but hey, just let it flow. Teach on your level. You ain't got to be deep and all this. You ain't got to sound like an elder teaching. Teach on your level.
Yeah, just get to the point.
Just get to the point. 10 minutes. That's it. Three
Yeah.
precepts is what? 25 minutes worth of lesson?
Yeah, you don't have
Like-
these elaborate. You don't have to make these videos in the form of documentary.
Right.
You got to go that hard into it. Just
You don't.
make the point
That's it.
and move on. It don't take much. It don't take much, man. You know.
Mm-mm.
This word is the way that the Lord put the thing together. It's an elaborate message, but it's compacted into a few words.
That's right.
You know, it's basically the Lord made His point in so many words. You know, but when you look into it, it goes it expands. You know, because when you read it, it's short. But when you understand it, it's a way bigger picture than what you read.
So many spiritual jams. You will find out. You'll read the same precept 30,000 times and find 30,000 new things to learn from.
Mm-hmm.
Even the elder apostles learned from the same precepts they've been bringing out for 30 years. They even learned new like gems and stuff. So it's no excuse, man. Just get in the scriptures, man, and get embodied by Yahweh Shema Rashad. Because there's going to be a point to where you ain't going to have no Bible. Having a Bible is illegal. Having a garment, let you be caught in Jacob's trouble with a garment with fringes on it and a KJV. Get caught in that day and see what's going to happen to your ass.
Yeah, these guys with fringes on their shirt,
Man, you need to get it now. This is the time. Get it while the getting's getting. While that gumbo pot getting, you should already be ready with your bowl, already ready. Not damn standing up to the side like, yeah, I'll wait. Now, by the time you get there, some shit, man, all the gumbo might be gone. And this halal gumbo. This ain't none of that bullshit. This that halal. This got smoked oxtails and lamb in it. Smoked chicken in this gumbo. The gumbo that these motherfuckers eat got abomination in it. You know what I'm saying? But look, hey, shit, man, these gumbos are selling fast over here. This halal gumbo selling fast. So you need to get while the getting's getting, and that's the spiritual food, man, and this living water. Otherwise, you're going to be out here starving, trying to seek for some food, and restaurant kitchen closed. Just like how grandma and them used to do us and stuff like that growing up. Kitchen closed after a certain amount of time, and you better not bring your ass in that damn kitchen late after dark. You're going to get that ass whooped. And look, that's going to be your Hawashai going across your damn head with plagues, wrath, ultimately the missiles, or getting zapped by the damn chariots, or being a part of Leviathan's footprint. Because he ain't going to see you walking. You're going to be a part of his footprint. You know? But you got it up.
Got some over here.
Con. Yeah, I got it's John 6:44. No man can come to me except the Father, which had sent me, draw him.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, that's a beautiful
That
precept.
way.
That's a beautiful precept, man. Like, you can't approach Most High unless you can call. You know, you can't just walk to the throne. No, man, you got to be called to the throne, man. You got to be requested. You know, and that's how a king deals, man. You know, a king is not gonna allow anybody just to come up in the chambers. You know, the king's chambers. Converse, man. No, you got to be requested.
Right.
Your presence got to be requested.
That's right.
You know. So once the Lord requests your presence at the chamber, the Lord's gonna call for you. For you to be present, man. You know. So you're not. No one can come into this circle, in this arena, without being drawn this way. You know. And what draws men to this calling, or to this gathering, should I say, what draws them to this direction is this light that the Lord has put on the planet Earth by the camps, the candlesticks, in which these candlesticks are set up here in these different places in the earth for the elect and the ones that believe that are seeking safety. Safety from the pitch blackness that spread across the entire world through the influence of Esau. You know? So with these different candlesticks, these camps that are set up, you know, the Lord, they're drawn to that light. And that's why the brother's reading that scripture. Is that, you know, no man could come to the Father and say the Father draw them, you know, draw them or call them to his presence, man. You know? So that's why, and on the flip side of that, you know, you got people that see the light and they stay away from it. You know? And the only reason why someone would stay away from the light is because you got some shit that you did and you don't want to be exposed to it.
Got a precept on that.
Yep,
too.
that would it be.
Okay, hold on a bit.
That would it be.
Yeah, you got some shit that you did and you don't want to be exposed for it and you don't want to be called out for it.
That's right.
That's the reason why they avoid the light. Because you don't want to come into the light because you know that what you did is off, but you don't want to get right. You know?
Say that again.
What you're doing is off, but you don't want to get yourself together. You don't want to get your mind right.
Hey.
You don't want to get away from what you're doing. You want to stay in it.
They like they demons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're friends with their demons. You know? They're familiar with them, man. Familiar spirits. You know? That's why scripture going to that about familiar spirits. You know? Those are familiar spirits that they know so much, they know so well that they can't get away from because they're too familiar with them, man. You know? So they duck off into the darkness and just chill. You know? Just stay there. You know? So you got that.
God, it's that word draw.
Mm-hmm.
Strong's G 1670. It says to draw, to drag off.
Ooh, said to drag off.
Kind.
Yeah, it said so to drag off. In other words, somebody grab you by the collar.
Kind.
And they be like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Ah.
And that's forceful too, man. Like you forced it, like you just grab them and just like,
Kind.
Just
You know?
like how Smokey Foot was on that car when he backed up and his foot was like, that's how Jake gonna be, man, getting pulled, man.
Just like y'all said about Jonah, man. That's by force.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, the Lord will put you in a, you know, a life or death situation, or he'll put you in a situation where, hey man, you're gonna have to make a decision, man. Just like what it says in the book of Jeremiah, the 6th chapter, the 16th verse, you're gonna be on that crossroad, you know what I'm saying? Basically, you got to choose this route or this route, and you better choose fucking right. And if the Lord is really dealing with you, the Lord is gonna steer you because you were the sheep. He gonna steer you in the right direction. He gonna steer you to the shepherd, you know? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like put them spiritual blinders on you, man. So where, you know, you ain't gonna choose the broad way. You're gonna be on the right side.
Right.
You know?
Kind. It says to draw by inward power.
yeah, to draw by inward power, man. That's that spirit. You know? And like we were saying earlier about, you know, those that find that light and they're drawn to that light, basically that's your spirit resonating with that light, you know? Your spirit is gonna dictate whether you're gonna be drawn to that light or you're gonna be repelled by that light. Because mind you, now we went to earlier about you got different lots. You got Israel that's been put into their own lot, but even in Israel, you got lots, you know? That's why we brought the example earlier about Moses and how the Lord was getting ready to destroy Israel. You know, basically having that enmity against that generation of Israelites that operated underneath the spirit of rebellion and wanted to just buck up against the Lord and his ordinance, you know? So, which ties right into what I was saying earlier about being drawn to the light or being repelled by the light. You know, you either being drawn or repelled is going to dictate whether you were you were the generation that received the promised land, or you were that generation that died in the wilderness due to your own rebellion. Right. You know? Yeah, but is there more on that?
Kind. Two more words. To lead and to impel.
Dang.
To lead and to impel. And this the rest of 44. I'm gonna start from the top again. 44. John 6:44. No man can come to me except the Father which hath sent me draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day.
Yeah, and that's going to be the end result. He's going to raise up the men in these last days, man. You know? So the men that are drawn to that light and find comfort in the light and find safety, you know, the Lord's going to raise these men up. You know? The Lord's going to raise up the men. That's why you see the camp set up, like I said earlier. And the men that you see that are gathered, you know, it's like a campfire, man. You know, that's why, hey, a campfire. You know, you all sitting around the campfire.
That's the spirit.
You know, settle around the campfire. You know, you're getting warm. You're just like trying to get some warmth from the light. You know, and that campfire is you gravitate around that campfire because that's where you find safety at, man.
Right.
You know, so that's these camps, man. You know, you come around the camps and you find safety in the camps. You know, that's the reason why a camp is established for safety. For men to find that camp and to be put in safety from these.
See how the wind picked up and broke that down?
Yeah, exactly, man. So all y'all about Yeah, so the reason why the Lord set these camps up in the first place is for men to be drawn to these camps for safety, to be basically run to the light, and get away from the darkness, you know, get away from the darkness to where the creeps and the goblins dwell, man, and the monsters of the night dwell at, man. Okay. Yeah, is that it now?
I had another precept on that
On
light.
that word draw that you brought out, you said impale, and what was the other word?
Lead.
Lead and impale.
Lead and
That word impale that I wanted to break down, because that word impale, when you impale, you stuck to something. It's like the Lord is forcing you to get in this truth, and He gonna keep you there. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey man, hey, call on y'all about Shema Shah, man.
Kind, right. Force, compel, oblige, necessitate, require.
Man, that's
demand,
beautiful. Require, demand,
pressure.
Pressure. Man, like the Lord wants you in this truth by any means necessary, man.
Yeah, it's like
He's forcing you to be delivered. You know?
Just expand on that. It's like
It's for you, it's for you.
You're right.
It's like being hooked.
Right.
You know? So that's
like a fish.
Yep.
Yeah, with the hook in the jaw,
Yep.
you get
you get hooked in the jaw like a fish.
Yeah.
You get pulled out.
right.
You know? That's going right into what the brother's going to, man.
Hey, that's
once
beautiful.
once the word being brought, you get hooked.
Right.
It hooks you and it brings you right into the boat.
That's call all y'all about Shema Shah. Hey, man, and look, all of you brothers live that, man. All of you brothers is a part of that, man. All of you brothers stayed in the boat, man. You know what I'm saying? Lord willing, we stay in the boat. All right? Because a lot of those fish in the boat, they're gonna, you know, that fisherman search around and be like, oh, this too small. This one, I can't eat that one. This one. You don't want to be the fish you got to throw back in the fucking water, man. Because you see Al-Azhar and you see a lot of fish, man, that got thrown back in the water because it turned out to be a bad fish. Or you cut that motherfucker open, they got parasites and worms all in it. Toss it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this got barnacles on it. Toss it. You know, they only gonna eat that, you know what I'm saying, that perfect looking fish, man, that's clean most outside, inside, and out. You know what I'm saying? So that means that we got to get right with Yahweh Shema Shah, tighten up behind closed doors, really, in fact, be, you know what I'm saying, having that contrite spirit, man. You can't be a nigga throughout the whole week, and when Day of Atonement come up and close to it, you want to start getting all right, like, yeah, I'm gonna get right now. And then you gonna let it die down and you go back to being a fucking nigga. Like, no, fuck that. No. Already keep the same Passover spirit you had when Passover touched down. Keep that same spirit going on all year round. And then you look up and you see that you still focused. And you look around and you see all them niggas that ain't focused. You know, I'm talking about they got balloons that they Passover. They going around, got dreadlocks, and they got women in their camp, and now they still don't know what Revelation 13 means. It's almost 2026 and they still don't know what Revelation 13 means. They can't even break it down from the 11th verse all the way on down. They don't even know what that means because they so caught up with just gathering together and just being strength in numbers. A bomb gonna end numbers. That don't mean shit. You standing around locking arms is what the fuck is that gonna do? That ain't gonna do nothing, man. But look though, it's all about you teaching. What are you doing for your Yahweh Shema Shah? See, a lot of these people been drawn into this truth just to get marked. And we've been seeing that, man. I'm talking about people that have been teaching, that had works. They've been drawn into this thing just to get marked. It's scary. And the times is changing, man. All right? And it's going to get more and more ugly as we get closer to our salvation, man. You know? So you need to be in this truth for the right reasons as well. You know, just don't be in this truth just to be in it. Know why you in this truth. Know why you worship Yahweh Shema Shah. Know why the Day of Atonement is important. Know why Passover is important. Know what spirit you need to be in towards your brother, towards the high holy days, towards the Sabbath. Know when the new moon is going to hit. You shouldn't have a call and ask a brother every fucking week or every month when is the fucking... You shouldn't even have to do that. Be on it. That's your job. You see what I'm saying? You got it, man.
Yeah, it's our heritage, man. Basically, it's our culture. Knowing when the Sabbath day comes in, you know, all the things, the Passover, how to conduct the Passover, all that's our culture, man. That is who we are as people. Those are the things that we conduct because that is what our people have always done since generations of old, man. You know, because people look at this as like something that's religious or some bullshit like that, but no, man, this is dealing with nations.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, this is dealing with nations and peoples. You know, and the fate of these people that you see today, man, or the fate that comes with these different nations. You know, that's what this is about. All right, and also too, this land back what you were saying earlier. You know, basically you have to get into it, man. You know, you have to indulge into the ways of the Yahweh, man. You know?
That's right.
Because that's why scripture say, seek the old paths. You know, which is the good way. You know? So again, you know, oh yeah, also too, what you were saying earlier about being amongst the men in these camps, you have to be in it for yourself, so to speak. Mm-hmm. You have to work, like the scriptures say, you have to work out your own salvation. Trembling, man. You know, you got to work it out for yourself, man. The apostles can't save another man. You know, the elders can't save another man. I can't save this brother. I can't save that brother, man. These brothers can't save me. You know, so you gotta know what you're in this for. You know, you're not like the Apostle Paul spoke on it too, man. You're not in it just a shadow box, man.
Right.
You're not in to beat the air. You know, you have to fight. You know, your worst enemy that you're fighting right now is yourself. You know, all the external, elements, all the external factors that play into your life, your daily life. You can get over that. You're fighting against that. You know, which that's a fight. But the most difficulty that you're gonna find when it deals with this fight that we're in is yourself. Okay, because you are your worst enemy. You know, if you ever want to know who your worst enemy is, look in the mirror. You'll see him. That's when you'll know who your worst enemy is, man. You know. So yeah, again, like you were saying earlier, when you're in this truth, man, you got to know what you're in it for. Don't just get in and try to coach through it, man. No, man. Once you locked in, you have to basically put forth effort, you know, to the best of your ability. And the Lord's gonna meet you halfway. You know? If the Lord see you trying to get yourself together, you know, he's seeing you trying to fight off those demons, try to fight yourself, the Lord step in and help.
Show effort.
You know, the Lord will step in and help you, man. The Lord not gonna let you fight that battle by yourself, man.
No.
Because again, quoting the Apostle Paul once again in another scripture, the Lord's strength is made perfect in weakness.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So, and the Apostle Paul knew that he was weak, but that worked out in the Lord's favor, because that showed how powerful the Lord is. Man.
That's right.
So knowing that, by us fighting, you know, the Lord's gonna meet us halfway so that his power can be shown. You know? So that he can get the glory. Okay? Yo, y'all got it.
I got 1 Corinthians 9:26 in the NLT. So I run with purpose in every step. Right, man. Just like a person that's like an athlete, Usain Bolt. If y'all know who Usain Bolt is, he's a famous runner. He's supposed to be the fastest man alive and all that. They say it's Tyreek Hill, but I think it's Usain Bolt. And before him, it was Michael. What's his name? Michael Johnson. Yeah, man.
I
Yeah,
think
hell
so.
yeah. Like, he had the gold shoes on and
USA,
stuff,
yeah.
right? If you ever seen them run, they run with purpose. Like, they always run with every step they make is with conviction to win. You know, that's how we got to be in this truth, man. You know? All right? Every step we make is with conviction to win. Every lesson we prepare for, every scripture we break down, everything is with conviction. All right? With the intent to teach, with the intent to edify, man. Okay? With the intent of you being better, with the intent of self-development within yourself and in your spirit first and foremost. All right? And that's how athletes train. Athletes train hard. All right? If you train hard, you play hard. You know, why the fuck Kobe was in the gym? Why you think that turnaround jumper that everybody, I don't care who it is, everybody say LeBron the best player, whatever. Who grab a piece of paper, ball it up, and shoot a trash can, what name you say? Kobe. Because he was in the gym 100,000 shots to where you can say Kobe when you do your shot. Okay? Practice makes perfect. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. And your poor performance is if you bullshitting throughout your whole grace period. You know, shit, man, the poor performance is you being faint-hearted.
Yeah, you fail to prepare, you fail to fail.
Say that again. You know? You know, that breaks itself down. I mean, that was beautiful. Can you please say that again?
Yeah, I said, if you fail to prepare, then you prepare to fail.
Man, you know? And that's what Jake out here doing, man, preparing to fail. Because they haven't prepared right. They have been preparing to go out to eat on Saturday. They've been preparing that outfit for the last week. They've been preparing, you know what I'm saying, like reservations here and there and plans to do this and that. But you haven't prepared nothing for your salvation. You haven't prepared nothing for your treasures in heaven or nothing. You just out here. Come on, man, you're gonna play out pretty soon, man. Now it says right here, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, like real quick, it say, I even go up to verse 25 because the verse 25 really go for real. Verse 25, hold on, this 1 Corinthians 9 and 25 in the NLT. All right. It reads, all athletes are disciplined in their training. They do it to win a prize that will fade away. But we do it for an eternal prize. You hear that? I even got to break that down. I'll just read it again. All athletes are disciplined in their training. All right. And to me, the most disciplined sport is boxing. It forces you to eat right. It forces you to, otherwise you ain't even gonna get past a workout. And if you can't get past a workout, you gonna get your ass beat. So you ain't got no choice but to eat right, work out, change your fucking lifestyle, get better sleep, get better everything. Okay, because you're really risking your life in that ring, so you need to get right with the Lord too, because the Lord can kill you in that ring, or you will leave talking like Floyd Mayweather daddy got a damn flip-flop in his fucking mouth. If you want to talk like that, go right ahead and just keep doing what you're doing, and the Lord will have you out here bogus as hell, man. You can be out here like fucking Muhammad Ali. Spiritually, you got spiritual Muhammad Ali's out here, man. Just Parkinson's disease, like, they can't do nothing else but what they know how to do. Be slow. They only know one fucking direction, backwards. They don't know how to move forward because they keep looking back like Lot's wife. You know, that's why they in the position they in, man. You know, but all athletes are disciplined in their training. So we got to be disciplined in our training, because this ain't, you know what I'm saying, you know what they say in the military, this is not a drill or something like that. We in training right now. This boot camp. This right here is the proving grounds. This to prove whether you worthy or not. Otherwise, if you ain't worthy, you know, well, you know the rest. They do it to win a prize that will fade away. Right. Look at, you know what I'm saying, look at Mike Tyson. There was a video, he had all his establishments, all his things he won, and he told the white man, this is trash, and threw the fucking belt. And that belt worth like $250,000 too. He threw that shit on that glass table and said it's trash. When I was 20, I didn't realize what I was fighting for. This is nothing, this is garbage. That's literally what he said, man, because he knew it was just for a moment. How old is Mike Tyson? Like 60? That happened when he was fucking 20. That was like 30-something years ago. It fades away, man. You really think that Mike Tyson could take all them accolades to the kingdom? They ain't gonna remember it. He gonna be a whole nother person. You know, he got the same spirit, but he gonna look different. And then he gonna be in his better self, man. Because it'll be the kingdom at that point. You know? So it's like, hey, man, see, a lot of these athletes and all these, yeah, man, we going to the ship. We going to the ship. Okay, you talk about that championship ring or the ship? Which ship you talking about? Because the internal prize is the ship. The fathership. Not no regular ass championship where you get the MVP and a little ass ring. You want to be delivered. You want to be beamed up. You want to have a new body. Okay? In your right mind, First Dominion style. You don't want to be the person that got to get born again. And then everything done. You ain't see nothing get fixed. You ain't see no ass get whooped. You just see everything Esau gone and now you here. You want to see the process, man. We want to. You know? We want to see the ground zero architect, our Lord got the whole blueprint laid out. This is how I want this providence to look, this one, and then we gonna lay it out. Now, verse 26, so I run with purpose in every step. Right, so if we know we gotta be disciplined, we know we gotta train, so we gonna do it. Because we know it equals to the eternal prize, right? I am not just shadow boxing, right? Because shadow boxing, you don't have an opponent in front of you. You ain't got no type of obstacles or nothing like that. You see? Because mind you, a person can be shadow boxing and get their ass beat in a real damn fight. And like, damn, dog, you were just looking good in the gym, but soon as you got into the fight, where the fuck the training go? And this dude fight like this. He was first doing all this, now he doing this. Where your training go? Where was you? You was just shadow boxing in the gym and you was just looking good. Doing the videos, doing this and that, but when that battle came up, he got his ass whooped. He was faking the funk.
He didn't stick to the basics.
Yep.
He didn't stick to the foundation.
That's right.
Because that's the first things that you learn is the foundation.
That's right.
The basics. Like, no matter what fighting technique you go against, or no matter opponent that you go against, or whatever team that you playing against, you always fall back to the foundation, the basics, the fundamentals. So those are the things that's gonna win those matches.
That's right.
You know? So that's why the Lord left us basic things. He left us the fundamentals, the foundational scriptures for us to learn and to know, so that no matter what battle that you come across, you gonna win.
That's right.
You know, you know how to win because you know the basics. You know how to dodge certain things. You know how to maneuver. You know, and then you're gonna get to those. And then when time goes on, you get to those tougher battles. The one you have to pivot.
Yeah.
You know?
You may have to check hook.
Yeah.
You may have to, oh shit, man, like this round, it may be all pressure on you, and you the one that got to be the one slipping, going to get rope-a-doping, and you may not have a chance to throw no punches like that back. You know, but don't get your ass beat. You see what I'm saying? And Jake like to get their ass beat, man. You know? And I'm talking about prophets, man, because we are the leaders of our nation, and we be fighting, man. We be fighting, man. Did you know that we might not be this, man? Look, and that goes right here, verse 27. I discipline my body like an athlete, training it to do what it should. Otherwise, I fear that after preaching to others, I myself might be disqualified. Man, you see how much of a man of the Lord got to be mowing eggshells? Did just a regular person out here just wheeling and dealing, thinking that they got everything going on? Because you putting yourself in the presence of Yahweh Shema Shah, man. Can you get James 3:1 right quick? In the NLT, Bible Shah. Because the Lord goes into that, man. Okay? Like, we can't be out here pussyfooting around, man. We got to treat this thing serious. Because all the teaching, all that knowledge, Alizé, disqualified. That motherfucker was carrying the basketball too much and the Lord sat his ass out. Get your ass out my game. You know? That nigga dropped a pass, you run a mile. You miss a block of the assignment, you run a mile. You fumble my football? Come on, stop playing. And then you gonna run a mile. You know? That's how the Lord is, man. You gonna run that mile.
Con, this is James 3:1. NLT. Dear brothers and sisters,
Right.
not many of you should become teachers in the church.
Right, everybody ain't gonna be a teacher. You got some brothers out here that's just a regular believer. That was they lot, just to believe. Read.
For we who teach.
But we who?
For we who teach.
On the other side of the camera teaching, you doing lessons, you exhorting daily. It said what? You that who?
For we who teach.
Right.
Will be judged more strictly.
We gonna what?
Will be judged more strictly.
Oh, okay. Let's look up that word strictly. You know, let's go into that. Because Elder Masha always bring it out. What you always say? When you teach, you putting yourself in the presence of Yahweh Shema Shah. It's like you presenting yourself in front of the throne. And then, you know what I'm saying? For real, man, you got, you know, Yahweh Shah, big old foot right there. You just like this, bowing down. You, man, you lit. So you going off, you might as well do it at his foot. You going off and doing all that shit, do it at his foot. Because you put yourself in his way. You putting yourself there to where he either gonna look out for you or he gonna kill your ass. You know? And one thing I know is like the Lord like to expose you before he take your ass out. But you got it. Strictly,
it says, in a way that involves rigid enforcement or that demands obedience.
belt to ass. Because a child, to get that child obedient, BTA. Belt to ass. And that child gonna act right and everything, the room gonna be clean. And look, they gonna come back with straight A's with that honor roll. I guarantee you that. You know, put belt to ass on Jake. Because that's one thing about our people. Our people only understand when pressure is applied. When you apply that BTA to Jake, that's what Jake get in line. Hey, Jake be all in a straight line. Jake be down there walking like a sobriety test around this motherfucker.
Hey, it's funny you said sobriety test, because you see it on the body cam all the time, man. Especially with Eve, man.
Oh, man.
They think they could do this, but Esau get them right all the time, man.
Mouthing off at the police and the police mouthing off at them. Matthew 25 ain't gonna save their life. Matthew 5:25.
God.
You know, because that goes back into Romans the 13th chapter, going into how Esau is the minister of
Right.
Yahweh Shema Shah. Like, man, you can't, man, I'm telling you, go ahead and act wrong. Esau don't use that sword in vain. He is gonna be the vengeance of Yahweh Shema Shah. Go ahead and act right and be out here over whooping and doing too much. The Lord gonna get Esau on your ass.
All right. Verse 3:1.
Yeah. James 3:1 in the NLT, because that's for this.
James 3:1. Dear brothers and sisters, not many of you should become teachers in the church, for we who teach will be judged more strictly.
Right, so you can't be playing games in this ministry, especially when you teach.
For in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man, and able also to bridle the whole body.
Right, man. So if you teach right, you're going to be able to wake up brothers and sisters. You'll be able to make sure that, you know what I'm saying, that the elect get sealed, man, because you're doing what you're supposed to do. Okay, you ain't the type of Israelite out here just teaching every goddamn thing you want to, and you just lying. Just like it say in the book of Isaiah, the 9th chapter, the 16th verse, where the leaders of our people cause them to err. You know, you got Jake out here just doing whatever they want to do. I'm talking about, and they had the right training. Everybody learned from the elder apostles. It's just whether you gonna stick with it or not. And that be a lot of these people. They learn from the elder apostles. They go off and they learn, and they start teaching some other stuff, and then they leading everybody astray. You know, they not doing it for the greatness of Yahweh Shema Shah and the teachings of the gospel and all that. They doing it for their own sake, for their own lucre, for their own 50 lucre, their own belly. That's slow bellies, man.
If I can add, I roughly paraphrase the scripture, say much is given to, much is required.
Right.
That goes with that. That's it.
Yeah, man. So with that, you know, once again, you know, like, just to reiterate what the brothers are going into, you know, you basically have to be in this thing for yourself. You got to know what you're fighting for. You know, you have to know what the bigger picture is when you're in this truth, man. You can't just have basically a short-sighted view on how these camps are put together, on how the camps deal with each other, and how this word's being distributed. Man, you can't be short-sighted. You can't have like a small view on what you're witnessing, because this isn't just an everyday occurrence, man. You know, we didn't pre-plan all this. Now we in Huntsville.
Right.
You know, we didn't plan all this out. You know, this is the Lord put all this together. The Lord's the one that put these camps together, man. You know, and like the brother brought in there, the precept drew men to the camps where the Lord set them up. You know, so the Lord's the one that set up these different lights in the earth, so where men can find those lights. You know, it's like a safe house. You know, well, not a safe house, so it's like a lighthouse.
That's right.
You know, a lighthouse is there so that the ships can see that lighthouse, make a beeline to that lighthouse and find safety from those rigorous waters, man.
That's right.
You know, that's why it speaks about faith, because faith will draw you to that light too. You know, that's why the Apostle Paul went into it as well about concerning faith. You know, and he said unless I myself be a castaway, but another one that says that men who have not followed through, or men who have not really applied faith, they all made shipwreck.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Dang.
So
that's heavy.
Why is that? Because they steered that ship in different directions, and they weren't looking for that beacon to where they're able to find shore. You know?
Now you forgot.
Yeah, so now you lost in the sea.
Dang.
Yeah, now you lost that sea. You know? And that's where you'll meet your end.
Dang.
That's when men found themselves shipwrecked. So, you know, like, so that ties right back to what the brothers was going into about being in this truth for the right reasons, man. You have to be sincere when you come into this thing, man, because again, you know, we're in the presence of the Lord, man. So you got to conduct yourself a certain way. You know, you got to approach the council a certain way, man. You know, yeah, we're in this for the same thing. You know, we get together, you know, but at the end of the day, we all know the goal that we're trying to fight for. We all know the goal that we're looking for, man. You know, we're all fighting for that same penny, and we're all working for that same reward that each and every single brother wants, man. And that reward that every single brother that you know that we want is mercy.
God.
That's right.
Pardon. That's the main reason why we're here, man. We want to be pardoned. We want to be given mercy. You know, we want to be shown favorable to receive mercy. So that's why we do whatever we do, wherever it is in our power to do, in order to find ourselves favorable in the eyes of the Lord, to receive that mercy, to receive that pardon, to receive those short mercies of David, man. You know. But we're gonna have to close out on that note. Once again, we give all praise on that glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. Once again, double honors to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone that rule very well to this very day, continuing to feed the flock through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai. Also, as well, Shalom, much honor as well to the hopefully elect, the ones that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof, and also continuing the ministry and spreading this gospel, this good news of the kingdom of coming of the kingdom of Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai in our faith, truth, sincerity, and also in our charity. With that, I'm going to say Shalom.
Shalom.
Until next time.
Next time.
ATM around here.